This is Steve Hackett here, you're watching No Enemies Here, Wargaming News.
Publishing The Devils to Pay, the first day at Gettysburg, designed by Dream Team designer Herman Luttman, and a gorgeous map by Rick Barber. Development is by the other Dream Team member, Fred Manzo. Talking about development, you know the developer in any game? Because I've been speaking to a few developers, and these guys, they're like the managers in a rock band, you know? Like, for example, the Dream Team of Luttman and Manzo. So, Herman Luttman, he's your rock star, right? He's your guitar god, your prima donna in the front, you know? And then, after the show, he's in back and he's partying with the chicks, or the guys, look, whatever floats your boat. And, you know, but Fred Manzo, being the manager, the developer, is gonna bring him back down to earth and say, Herman, you got a game to finish. You know? Let go the M&Ms. That's what a developer does. And you know what? I'm gonna try to have a spot on a developer. See what goes in their minds. Not enough credit to developers. Fred Manzo, developer. What you get with this game is one 17 by 22 inch Rick Barber map. If I have not mentioned Rick Barber before, he's the map artist. 176 counters, 3 player aid cards, 1 full color rulebook, and a box and a lid. Revolution Games, Poland Defiant. The German Invasion, September 1939. This game covers the first 10 days of the Polish campaign, September 1st to the 10th, 1939. What you get with this game is one 22 by 34 inch map, 1 full counter sheet of half-inch counters, a rulebook, a player aid, and it comes in a Ziploc bag. Poland Defiant is designed by Stefan Ekstrom, developed by Roger Miller. The map graphics are Joe Yost, and the counter art is by Charles Keebler. Favor, use this code. Get 25% off DVG's website. Not the website, the game's on the website. 25%. STUKAJOE has a video out, a preview video of Europe Divided, a game designed by David Thompson and Chris Marling, soon to be published by Phalanx Games. It's actually on Kickstarter right now. Jeff McAleer of the Gaming Gang is at Origins, and he's visiting Flying Pig Games / Tiny Battle Publishing booth. Jeff also unboxes Gandhi on his Daily Dope number 317. The Decolonization of British India 1917 to 1947 is a game designed by Bruce Mansfield, published by GMT. And also, Jeff is interviewing one of the Dream Team designers, Herman Lutman. I watch Jeff of the Gaming Gang as much as I can, Usually his show's at 8 o'clock. I check it out. I get different scoops on RPGs. Yeah, I know this is a war game channel, but that guy knows his war games, man. And he pulls no punches.
Howdy, folks. I'm Jeff McAleer, Grand Poobah of thegaminggang.com and the host of videos on the Gaming Gang channel on YouTube, which happen to include my live weeknight show, The Daily Dope. Dan had asked me to tell you about what's coming up on The Daily Dope next week. So here you go. Starting on Monday, the 24th, I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at... Let's turn this the right side up, right? Robotech Attack on the SDF-1, which is from Japanime Games. This is a pretty hefty box, and I have been told there's actually a big standee of the SDF-1, so that'll be on Monday's show. Tuesday's show, I will be unboxing and taking a first look at the new release from Arcane Wonders, Volcanic Isle. This looks pretty interesting. I saw a demo of it at Origins Game Fair. So that is on Tuesday. Wednesdays, it's Wargame Wednesdays on the Daily Dope. I will be unboxing and taking a first look at the Peloponnesian War from GMT Games, designed by Mark Herman. This is actually a 1 or 2 player game. So I believe it's a little streamlined from his previous ancient Greece design. Then on Thursday, I always like to take a look at RPGs on Thursdays. I will be reviewing the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Starter Set from Games Workshop, and I'll give you a hint. It's good stuff. Tune in, check out, I'll tell you what I think. Then, on Friday, I will be unboxing and taking a first look. This box is pretty heavy and hefty. Champions of Hera, which is from my friends over at Greenbrier Games. That will conclude the week. So, that's what's cooking on the Daily Dope next week. Thank you to Dan for giving me a moment to share what's coming up on my show. Back to Dan.
The gentlemen of the Player's Aid, Alexander and Grant, are debriefing Origins 2019. They are also reviewing Red Alert from Plastic Soldier Company Games, a game designed by Richard Borg. They are also interviewing Mark Walker at Origins 2019 with La Resistance. Also, the Player's Aid are unbagging 1776, Year of Decision from Strategy and Tactics magazine, and a game designed by Harold Buchanan. The Chief of Bonding with Board Games and Guru of Hamtag is unboxing Mark Herman's Peloponnesian War, a game published by GMT. The Chief also reviews The Great War, French Army Expansion, and French Tanks from PSC Games, Plastic Soldier Company. The guys at Little Wars TV are reviewing Sons of Mars, published by Joe Veltri of God Eye Games. Also, the Little Wars TV guys have a trailer for Season 2. Check it out. And Rodney Smith of Watch It Played has a video on how to play Memoir 44, a game designed by Richard Borg. Wayne Hansen on his Recon section is checking out Herman Lutman's The Devils to Pay, The First Day at Gettysburg, published by Tiny Battle Publishing. AJ Toynbee of Hexes and Soldiers has 2 live stream videos out, AJ also has a video out on command control and leader command influence range in Solitaire Advanced Squad Leader. Also, I'd like to congratulate Jason on the St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup win. Not that he had anything to do with it, but hey, congratulations, Jason. Mark Walker of Tiny Battle Publishing and Flying Pig Games has an update on Herman Lutman's Crowbar with the expansion, plus old school tactical expansion, Stalingrad. Devin, the OG, the original Grognard, gives us a channel update. I love the editing process. GIMPY of the GIMPY Gamer is doing a review through of 1918 Brother Against Brother by Linden Lake Games. And also a review through of Ben Hull's GMT published game Fields of Fire 2 with the Old Breed.
The punk rocker of war games, also known as Dave Ramon of the Centurions Review.
Hey guys, Dave here from the Centurions Review, the punk rock band of wargame review institutions. On our website, we'll be reviewing the Fantasy Trip Wizard this week. It's the sister game to Melee from Steve Jackson Games. It's been re-released. Melee was the man-to-man combat rules, whereas Wizard is the spellcasting rules, so it should be an interesting read. On our YouTube channel, we'll be doing a first look at Zama, Hannibal vs. Scipio. It's the final battle of the Second Punic War, where Scipio defeated Hannibal and put an end to Carthage once and for all. Looks like a really cool game. The next game we'll be doing a first look at is Outpost Gamma from Dwarf Star Games. It's an old game from the 1970s. Dwarf Star Games is a division of Heritage. Essentially, you're a 10-man squad who has to hold out in an outpost versus hundreds of aliens, so you're outnumbered like 100 to 1 or something. So basically, it's Works Drift on another planet. Sounds pretty cool. The last game we're doing a first look at is Operation Pegasus from Task Force Games. Operation Pegasus is the operation to relieve Khe-Sanh, where the 101st Airborne basically avoided most of the NVA's traps and just flew directly to a location near Khe-Sanh and were able to relieve it. Looks like an awesome game. I can't wait to try it. Look forward to seeing you guys on my YouTube channel and on my website. Thanks.
And let us not forget Mo of Mo's Game Table, where he previews and unboxes The Last 100 Yards from GMT, designed by Mike Denson. And talking about The Last 100 Yards, if you want to know what's happening on the big board, I'll tell you what's happening on the big board. Kevin, CEO Big Man of the big board, is checking out, well, he entitles his video, Combat and Bits, The Last 100 Yards. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what's happening on the big board. And BLASTPOP also gives us his 15 minutes overview of Peloponnesian War by GMT, designed by Mark Herman. The man famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino, continues his Talon playthrough called The Battle for Rigel. And as always, Calandale, after a playthrough, a review. The strongman of war games, Rob Orn of Rob's Tabletop World, checks out Phobos Rising, Insurgency on Mars. This is a solitaire game published by Decision Games. And Napoleon's triumph video this week is Pericles, the Peloponnesian War example of solo play, a game designed by Mark Herman. The soft-spoken but formidable foe, Jonathan Townsend, is doing a playthrough of Antietam 2 in Their Quiet Fields, a game designed by Neh S and published by The Gamers. I'm Tim Korchnoi of Bare Bones Wargame is checking out the game's successors from Strategy and Tactics magazine number 161. The man with the voice, Ardwulf of Ardwulf'S LAIR, has a lot to talk about on his Report of Origins 2019. Tom, thanks for doing this. Here's my first question. You create many games. You're a designer of many games, but I wanted to ask you, what's your area of expertise? What era do you most likely go to? Meaning, what era do you prefer?
I like all sorts of different eras of gaming. I work in all sorts of periods. I tend to do a lot of medieval and a lot of games set in the medieval and ancients period. And I think a lot of that has to do with I like using primary sources, and the primary sources from those periods, while not always reliable, are a lot of fun. And I enjoy that very much. I also enjoy looking at those periods in the past and seeing, in some cases, how little has changed from then to today. There's a tendency to look at today and say, oh, this is such a different moment. Things are so different than they were back then. But there are a lot of things that kind of carry through. And those things are parts of human nature. And it's always nice to identify that.
Tom, I know that you've worked for other people. I think you've worked for Mark Walker, if I'm not mistaken. Amongst other people, I don't know. Can you give us a little bit of your background?
So when we first got into board games, I thought I was going to be a Euro game designer, and I designed Euro games, and I could not find publishers for them. And then I did a war game, one war game, as a lark, and that's the one that sold. And so I started doing more war games, and here I am. That very first war game was done for Lock and Load Publishing. At that time, Mark Walker was running that company. Now David Heath does. And when Mark Walker left Lock and Load to form Flying Pig, he wanted to do a magazine, and he asked me to edit the magazine. I'm still not sure why, because I had no experience, but I said yes, and I did 7 issues of that magazine for Flying Pig Games. And while I was doing that, he started Tiny Battle Publishing, and he tapped Mary to run the company, the day-to-day operations, and develop the games and find new games. And the first 15 games that came out from Tiny Battle, that was Mary. So between the two of us, we got a lot of practical experience, and we got to see how what we thought worked well and what we thought could be done differently. And that's what led us to start Hollandspiel, with that practical experience, that knowledge, and wanting to do things our own way. And it's worked out okay for us so far.
Tom, I've been listening to the Mary and Tom Show, your podcast, and it's a lot of fun. I feel like I'm part of the family, the dysfunctional goings-ons. It's fun. I enjoy it. How long have you guys been doing this podcast?
So the podcast started when we went full-time with Hollandspiel. About 6 months after starting the company, we thought, we're going to take this from being a sideline to being our full-time source of income. I'm going to quit my job. It was a little scary, but we thought we'd be able to do it because we published so many games and we're able to step up our marketing. We would basically be guaranteed to make enough money to live on. And if the games did better, then, we'd be able to save some and fix up stuff around the house and that. And so about 6 months in, I quit my job, and we made the Hollandspiel full-time, and part of that was trying to increase awareness of us and our products. And one way we tried to do that was the Mary and Tom Show. Dinosaurs, everybody.
Tom, I heard an interview you gave once. I don't know if it was with Harold Buchanan on his Harold with Games podcast. But there was a question that came up, but I don't remember the question. But the answer to that was, I wanted to become a priest because I was a weird kid. This is you answering the question. Okay, so I understand from the idea of becoming a priest to a truck driver, yeah, sure. But the idea of becoming a priest and then you slip into board games, how does that go?
So, yes, when I was a kid, I did want to be a priest, which is weird because I'm not Catholic. I'm Protestant. I'm a Lutheran by baptism, and but I wanted to be a priest. By the time I got, I don't know, into my early teens, I really gravitated towards wanting to do creative things, writing fiction, making movies, making music, making video games, making comic books, anything that would work. And I spent a long time trying to find the thing that worked, and it turned out to be board games. I didn't find that out until I was nearly 30, though, so it was a bit of a time trying to get there.
Do you attend many game conventions? And if so, which ones?
We do not attend many gaming conventions. Mary and I are kind of homebodies. We like to keep to ourselves. And I think because of how niche our games are, most of the people who are going to buy our games aren't going to necessarily find out about them at conventions. They're kind of going to find us and meet us halfway, as it were. That said, our printing partner Blue Panther does go to a lot of conventions, especially on the West Coast. And we do go to conventions from time to time. We were going to go to Origins this year, but we had a family emergency, and so I'm not there. I'm here instead talking to you. So we might be going to World Board Game Championships, WBC. I'm not sure. That's still kind of up in the air. We'll see how the budget works out, because we've had a lot of veterinary-related expenses lately, and that kind of ate a lot of our convention budget for this year.
Tom, you know, you look like a friendly guy to me. You know, you're cutesy-pootsy. You know, maybe we can hang out. You know, we can, I don't know, throw some ball and, I don't know, chew on some grass, whatever. And, I mean, I have a nickname. People call me Dooch, right? Can I call you Scamp?
That's kind of weird, but whatever floats your boat.
Here's the boring question. Tom, how long have you been doing, how long has Hollenspiel been in business? And do you plan on expanding, getting bigger, kind of like something like Victory Point Games did? You know, they used to make those small pizza kind of boxes, and then they went the whole hog. You planning on doing the same thing?
Okay, so we have been in business since 2016. August of 2016 is when we started. Do we plan on expanding like Victory Point Games did? I think we looked at a lot of small companies and what made them work and what made them less flexible as they grew, and we want to kind of keep that flexibility and that control over us. We're very conscious of trying to control our growth. We don't want to necessarily get bigger. We want to increase our reach and publish more and more games and better games, but I don't see us trying to transition from what we're doing to what maybe other people wish we were doing. We're happy with what we're doing. It works for us. Going on to page 2. I wrote down the questions. All right.
Tom, in regards to the publishing of your games, do you keep an inventory, or is this more of a print-on-demand type thing?
Okay. Kind of both. So we do run on a print-on-demand model, which, as I like to say, is the most expensive and least efficient way of publishing games. Our printing partner, Blue Panther, does keep some amount of inventory on hand, or at least, you know, we attempt to do that. It doesn't always work out that way. You know, we get a run on orders, but he tends to keep, especially our most popular titles, kind of having some on hand so that the orders get out a little quicker with that. And whenever we release a new game, he will print up a stock of games to try to meet those initial orders. And sometimes we have enough. Sometimes it doesn't work out quite as well as we expected it to. I remember when we did Traffic, he underprinted We thought we had enough copies, but we did not. And that's always a good experience to have. Like, okay, people really want this game. Let's print some more and get them out there.
A Harley Davidson? Or a bicycle with a nice basket in the front?
I am not really a motorcycle person, so it's going to be a bicycle for me.
Alfalfa sprouts? Or a rare beef burger?
I do like a good burger, but I'm not going to eat a rare burger, like medium or medium rare. We're basically vegetarian, sort of. Like, we don't eat meat unless we're going out to eat or something. So I'm going to say, I guess it'll be the alfalfa sprouts over the rare beef burger. I haven't had alfalfa sprouts before. I'm sure they're fine. Ever had alfalfa sprouts before, Mary?
Yes.
I have had alfalfa sprouts. I guess I like them. Okay.
Bambi or Thumper?
Question. Bambi or Thumper? Well, Thumper is kind of an annoying, obnoxious little rabbit, and Bambi is the prince of the forest. So I'm going to give the edge to Bambi. On the other hand, there was that sequel film, Bambi vs. Godzilla, and that did not turn out so well for Bambi. But how well would it turned out for Thumper? So I'm going to give Bambi the vote over Thumper, I guess.
Now, for all you people that don't know Bambi vs. Godzilla, I'm going to show it to you here. And we're going to get into the psychology and the mind that is Tom Russell. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars or Star Trek? It's kind of apples and oranges here. Because, like, Star Wars, I'd rather see a Star Wars film than a Star Trek film. But I'd rather see a Star Trek TV series than a Star Wars TV series. Just they're different flavors and they have different kinds of emphasis. I can't imagine a Star Wars film or property doing what, say, Deep Space Nine did for Star Trek. But I can't imagine Star Trek doing something like Star Wars. So,
A fountain pen or a crappy ballpoint pen?
Fountain pen or ballpoint? Okay. I generally use ballpoint pens, but I'm going to say fountain pen because the adjective you use to describe ballpoint specifies that it is of inferior quality. Now, if it had been like no adjective or like a good ballpoint pen, I'd be like, yeah, ballpoint pen. I tend to use the Bic round stick. Very reliable ballpoint pen. But I guess it's fountain pen because of the adjective.
The Army or the Navy?
Army or Navy? I have not been in either. My grandfather was in the Navy during Korea and the Marines during World War II. My uncle, one of his sons, was in the Coast Guard, which is referred to in the family as the bathtub Navy. So I guess Navy gets my vote. My dad didn't go into either the Army or the Navy. He was supposed to, because my grandfather's thing was, you are my son, you are going to go into the military. And my dad was going to, but then he got in a car accident, drinking a little too much, and the steering wheel took out the teeth in his lower jaw, and he was in the hospital for a while, so he did not go into the military. This was like just before he was supposed to go in, he had this accident. On the bright side, my father had a number of lady friends at that time, and when he was in the hospital, only one of them went to visit him every day, and that was my mother, and then they got married, and then I was born. So, yay, car accident? I don't know.
The Battle of Gettysburg or The Battle of the Bulge?
The Bulge, only because it's a more dynamic and interesting situation than Gettysburg.
Sci-fi or Western?
I like Westerns a lot, but I like Western film and television. I don't really like Western novels. Science fiction, I like film, and I like television, and I like novels, and I like rock opera, you know, whatever. So I'm gonna give sci-fi the vote because there's more stuff that I experience sci-fi through. Also, Mary's a big sci-fi fan. I'm probably a bigger sci-fi fan than she is a Western fan, so she's more likely to watch a sci-fi movie with me than a Western movie.
Heavy metal or country music?
Question 9. Heavy metal or country? I'm assuming you're asking me to choose which way I want to die, because both of those are terrible. I'm going to say country, only because it's less aggressive on my eardrums, but really, I'm going to be dead either way. Neither is better.
Wine or beer?
Last one. So I do not drink. I have never had a drop of alcohol imbibed in my life. I come from a long and illustrious line of Irish alcoholics, so I've stayed away from that stuff. However, I have cooked with wine, and I have cooked a stew with beer, and I much prefer cooking with wine, so wine is my answer. All right, I think that's all the questions. Thank you for having me.
And David Thompson's For What Remains. What Remains is a skirmish-level wargame set in a post-apocalyptic near future. It's a 2-player competitive game and can be played solitaire. Bad Crow Games and Company of Heroes. This is a real-time strategy or turn-based World War II 2-player game. David Thompson and Chris Marling's Europe Divided by Phalanx Games. Europe Divided is a game of an expansionist Europe, a resurgent Russia, and a new Cold War. Consim World Expo 2019 in Arizona, featuring Monster Game Con 19, June 22nd to June 29th, 2019 in Tempe, Arizona. MAURO FAINA has a couple of podcasts out, episode 67, Combat Commander, and episode 68, Flat Top. The continuing saga of Hollenspiel's The Mary and Tom Show, episode 80. Dinosaurs, everybody. Another week, another show. Steve Hackett, wasn't that cool? Thanks to my new supporter, Alan Dickerson Stegler. Please think about becoming a supporter, and you know what? I'll see you next week. Ciao, baby. You could skip this section. I'm not forcing you. Plus, Saturday morning, man. Where are you going? Stegler, Alan Dickerson. Look, your question that you wanted me to ask Tom, why does he film outside and not inside? Well, I sent him the question, and Mary wrote back, and she said, listen to episode 80. I think they just uploaded it 16 days ago. And your questions will be answered. Huh? Here I am pulling another Enrico Viglino. I'm joking. I like the guy. And I you know what? I actually email the people I rib and say, hey, can I rib you? You know, because, you know, we're sensitive, us wargamers. Huh? Anyways, you know, I don't watch TV anymore. I mean, I watch the odd series here and there, but I mean, I don't even have a feed. I don't even have a cable feed. I actually watch all these videos, all these war game videos. You know, I'm becoming narrow-minded. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? I actually look forward to the Player's Aid, STUKAJOE, when he does his, you know, incredible production videos. You know, I try. It ain't never gonna happen. Whatever, you know. And I even look forward to the CEO, Kevin Sharp, Read the Alphabet, when he does his videos, you know. He's the OCS of the TVV, of the CEO of the BGG, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, WBC. Look, man, I don't know what's happening, okay? I can't divulge too much information because there's certain people out there that are going to want to know my information. But I have a segment on the Dice Tower, the Wargaming segment. A Wargaming segment on the Dice Tower. And I lose it, you know, and I've done this previously. But I'm going to show you clips. So firstly, let's check out the components. So Tango Down Man-to-Man Urban Combat is a Ziploc game bag. What does that mean, Paul? It means it comes in a Ziploc bag. In a bag, a Ziploc. I thought you were playing outside. But I don't want to play outside. I want to play with you. I swear I'll never drink again. You know that little kid who I insult all the time? It's probably me deep down inside, you know, coming out, you know, psychologically wise. You know what I'm saying? Poor kid. Don't think of this as the ending. Think of this as the beginning of the end. You know, I never understood that. The end is the end. What do you want me to say? How does it work? Well, you go on their website, you click Battles on Demand, you choose your battle, he prints it, ships it to you, and that's it. Come on, man. Can't get easier than that. But Paul! Shut up! But Paul, I don't want to fight World War II. I want cowboys and Indians. Well, my little half marble, we got just that. Get out of there! You can fight in Berlin. Anywhere. But Paul, I don't want to play with you anymore. You're always losing. Well, my little Nebelwerfer, no problem. You can play all those games with the module, the solo module, for all your tactical games. You can play alone. But I don't want to play alone anymore. Shut up! And you know why I do this? Because it's self-analysis, right? I work in a psychiatric center, you know? We're always being analyzed, no matter what. And you know what? When I went to school, I minored in theory. Analysis. You know? So I'm analyzing myself. And you know what? I'm having fun doing it. And you know what? That little kid really is me, you know? Because every time I play a war game, the little times that I do play a war game, I never win. You know what I say? So I want to play alone. But then I don't want to play alone. And you know, I'm really anxious for Mark Herman's Peloponnesian War. Because it has that mechanic that when you're winning, you got to go to the losing side. And when you get to win from the losing side, you go back to the losing side. So basically, you're going to win no matter what. Thanks, Mark. Where, get this, in 1982, Argentina invades Britain. This really happened in the Malvinas. What were they thinking? Well, they probably thought they were invading like the island of Titicaca. Britain's got allies, man. But anyways, the Argentinians, they have this missile called the Exocet. To create games, war games, but disguised as like Euro games. Huh? Woo! Pa! That's sneaky! Thank God he looks like his mom. Couple of deck of cards. You know, it's like a B movie. What's a B movie, Pa? You're a B movie. 3. You do your actions. 4. Rinse and repeat. How do you bid for initiative? You draw 2 cards, huh? And the guy with the higher number, he goes first. He just wants to learn. But Pa, I want to play platoon level, not tactical. Me. This is what the map looks in action. See, they're all snug as a bug in a rug in their respective squares. But Pa, I don't want it to be snug as a bug in a rug. I want a bigger map. Well, little Nebelwerfer, you know, I must have been a real pain in the ass when I was young. You know that? Because I'm channeling something here. And here's the story. I went to say goodbye to one of my friends. He left our material world. And at the funeral, I met an old teacher of ours, Mrs. Staponi. And as soon as I saw her, I went over to her and I said, Mrs. Staponi, I'm so sorry for all the crap I did to you. Because I remember it. For all the crap I did to you and all the troubles I gave you. And she said the nicest thing to me. She said, you know what, son? It couldn't have been that bad because I don't remember you. Who are you? That was great. With certain chits. But, Pa, I don't want the modern era. I want World War II. Well, my little runt, my little Nebelwerfer, but Pa, the maps are small, my eyes are tired, I can't see. Well, my little burnt toast, in the same compendium called The Battle for Monte Cassino. Monte Cassino is the town my mom was from. She was actually there when that battle happened. Pa, did Grandma die? No, my little Nebelwerfer, because if she would have died, you wouldn't have been born. You know, this reminds me when I was real young, you know, we'd go see my Uncle Giuseppe at the bakery. You know, he'd walk in, he's happy to see you, and he throws in a cannoli. Well, that's that. You know, thanks for watching. Really, thank you. It obviously feeds my ego, eh? I mean, I was a performer for 30 years in classical music, so I guess once a performer, always a performer, no matter what. So, thanks a lot, man.